waving right hand didn't strike the target.
Anthony Manning, though, he's full of concentration.
Bleeding profusely again there from that nostril. And pulling away at the body of Salaminides. I haven't seen Soft in trouble before. And the bell's gone.
Your winner, ladies and gentlemen, the A-Train, Anthony Manning.
As a kid, I remember, having a strict father, things never being good enough, always having to work, always having to be good at something, always having to achieve. But there is a percentage of me that has a sensitive side, and that comes from my mum being a good sort of old school farmer and looking after a family very well. I was never encouraged to just do one thing or be good at one thing. My parents, both of them, were very happy for me to do many different things. I started in sort of general martial art training when I was a teenager. I think I was about 13 or 14. My father didn't support it one bit, so I wouldn't have never watched me compete, never watched me train, never wanted to be anything to do with it. So that was a different aspect of the relationship, only because he thought that I could do better for myself. I relate it to similar to kids that want to be musicians. Their parents never think that they'll ever amount to anything. Some do, most don't. Same thing with someone that wants to do sport for a living. Your parents never think that you're going to get a good paying job and look after yourself. So my dad took that attitude. And because I got good marks at school and I got into law at uni, they expected that would be a much smarter path than trying to do sport. My own fighting wasn't because I want to fight people, it was because when you learn something, you want to see if it works. And I was never picked on or bullied at school, but I always wanted to be a little bit stronger or a little bit tougher. I saw that if you could stand up for yourself, or you're a bit tougher, or you're a bit stronger mentally, not physically, but mentally, you could achieve more in life. Phoenix is a combat sports gym. Started out as a martial art gym called Planet Action 17 years ago. It's built around a few people that are incredibly passionate about what they do and driven towards it. The club is based on socialisation, a lot of friendships and a lot of bonds between people, because when you exercise hard with people, especially if you spar hard with people, you train hard with people, you know them in a different aspect to the rest of their life. When you train hard together, sweat and bleed sometimes and work hard, you really see what people are like. People bond very strongly. The way we got so big was more people stay than go. We never had a marketing drive and opened 50 gyms and we're a trend. We just keep members. We keep people coming back. One of my best fighters at the moment is a nurse. One of our students that comes 6 nights a week is one of Canberra's leading neurosurgeons. If you get arrested for assault, if you've had assault charges, criminal records, if you get in fights in the street, you can't be a member. We just don't accept that. One of the main rules is we don't contribute to violence in society. One thing I learned about school is that anyone that hangs out in a gang, anybody that picks on people when they're pissed, is just a weak person in the first place. We teach kids sometimes from school groups, like angry boys and school groups, that they bring to us because the kids have either been bullied or they bully each other. And we find that when you put them in the right direction and you let them hit things and you let them work hard and you say it's okay to sweat and it's okay to grunt and groan, they go home happy and relaxed. There's no denying there's two people in the ring trying to hurt each other. But when you're a fighter, most fighters aren't thinking I want to hurt the guy. Most fighters are thinking I want to win, I want to do my best. And they face that challenge for the same reasons that people climb Everest. It's a massive challenge that scares the shit out of them, but they don't want to live their life shying away from things. They want to make the most of it. Every weekend there's kids out there playing rugby league with parents and coaches yelling at each other, and there's far more injuries per person that does it, but because they have a ball, they're allowed to run fast as they can from 50 metres away and smash into each other. And nobody, some people think that's brutal, but really it's much more an accepted part of society. It's just that there's a stigma attached to some fighting arts and aspects. And there's people in the industry that don't help. People that market it that way, they don't help the industry, but really, I think the brutality side of it just comes from a label that comes from a lack of effort to try to understand or look at the benefits that you get from it. Tracy is like a fantastic person. And she's not my wife, but we're in love and better than most people that I've ever seen that are married. When I was working in Iraq, we were only just sort of started going out with each other. And when you're in situations where I had people that worked for me that got killed, I had people, seen many situations where there's multiple deaths, and you look at life in a different perspective. And I was so fanatical or passionate about all of those sort of things up until my mid-30s that any relationship I ever had before never could keep up with what I wanted in life. And Tracy taught me that there's more to live for than just that, and that if you have someone that really syncs with everything you want, then you can have a lot more fulfilling life and go a lot further. So we are more of a complete partnership than than I would expect possible.
I answered. You do it for the fun of it, for the enjoyment, and you just got to keep going every time you get in there, no matter how hard it is.
I've had 7 knee reconstructions, both shoulders reconstructed. I've had 2 spinal reconstructions. I have a 2 centimetre cage in my spine. Recently I had a complete hip replacement. 3 months ago I had a complete hip replacement. Those injuries set the scene for just being more determined and not giving up and not having an excuse about life, just getting on with what you wanted to do on a daily basis. Being really healthy is just a slow way to die. I was over 40s national champion a few times on mountain bike riding because I got right into that. My hip stopped that. So in the last year, the biggest change in my life about what I do outside of here now is I bought a farm. When I leave here, I get my Land Cruiser and my hat and put on a flannel, and I go out to my 100-acre farm and I try to learn to be a farmer. Come on! Yep, come on! And the Galloway cattle are fantastic beef cattle that live around the southern region in New South Wales because they look like Ugg boots, they're big and fat, they love the cold, they're easy to look after, which is great for people that know nothing about cows. Come on! Yep, yep, yep. We just wanted to have something different in our life, something for the future, something that we needed to learn about, and we started looking for small properties around Canberra, and we found 5-acre and 20-acre places. And when we saw this, we fell in love with the house and the way the property is, which is forest-like, farms, creeks, lots of wildlife, and we thought this would be the place to live. We also started to hate our neighbours and people that live right in your pocket for your whole life and everything that goes on in your life, so this is a much nicer change. In the last 6 months I've learnt to tell the difference between a boy cow and a girl cow and call them the appropriate names like steers and heifers. We also have Dorper sheep, and we have 12 sheep and a ram, and we have chickens. We have about 5 chickens. So it's pretty much you always want to keep alive, and the way to do that is to learn new things. So when everyone told me it's 100 acres is too big to look after, or you know nothing about farming, which I never started a chainsaw or fixed a fence in my life. I wouldn't know how to drive a tractor or tell a boy cow from a girl cow. The main reason to do it is to take on something that you have to learn about. You're never too old to learn something new, and that's what keeps you alive and challenging and engaging. We don't have any other plans to move anywhere else as we get older. The people we bought the place off were in their 70s, and they moved to the coast with their grandkids, and we thanked them for that. So we got the property, but we don't have any children or anything to do that too, so I think we'll just stay here as long as we can. We called it Valhalla because that's where Vikings and warriors go when they die in battle, so that we stay out here until we die. And we have no in some type of life, but yeah, it's what we don't have any other plans to move anywhere else as we get older.